If I told you the richest man on the hill nearly lost everything he ever loved, his money, his pride, his own sense of what's real, all because of a 6-year-old girl holding a dented bucket, would you believe me? Yeah, that sounds nuts, right? But I was there. And let me tell you, money can't buy you the truth, but sometimes the world throws it at your feet, dirty and barefoot, and looking you right in the eye. The Wexford estate now, that was something straight out of a dream. Or maybe a movie if you like the kind with grand staircases and gold everything. I remember Jonathan Wexford, the man himself, adjusting his navy tie in the mirror so carefully you'd think he was prepping for a king's coronation, not just another board meeting. Everything about him screamed, control: his suit, his shoes, even his smile. But his wife, Isabel, glided by in a silk dress, her voice as sweet as the orange juice in her hand, telling him not to be late, teasing like she always did, but something in the air that morning was just off. You know that feeling, right? When someone you love starts drifting and you're the last to notice. Anyway, Jonathan tried to shake it off, but as he headed for the side door, ready to let his driver whisk him away like every morning, he saw her. Not Isabel, not a staff member, but a little girl 6, maybe 7, standing outside the servants' entrance, clutching a beat-up metal bucket. Her name, I'd learn later, was Mira. She didn't beg, didn't whimper. Just looked up with these eyes that could punch right through any mask you wore. The housekeeper, nervous, muttered, "She's always around, just hungry, won't cause trouble." But Mira wasn't looking at her. She was looking straight at Jonathan, at the man who had everything, and she just says, "I need to tell you something." Now, you might laugh, but Jonathan, he crouched down, all business, but you could see the curiosity. "What's that?" he asked, like he was talking to the CEO of a rival firm, not a barefoot kid. Mira took a breath, voice barely a whisper, but steady. "Your wife, she's lying to you. You ever see a man's whole world tilt, even if just for a second?" Jonathan did this double take, almost chuckled, but Mira didn't budge. "Last night, I slept behind the garden wall. I saw her through the window with a man. Not you." They were laughing, whispering. "She said you'd be gone soon. She said she was almost free." Let me back up a sec. Imagine hearing that from a stranger, let alone a kid with dust on her cheeks and sadness in her eyes. But Jonathan, for all his millions, he knew honesty when he saw either. Maybe he just needed to. He froze, couldn't find his words, while inside the house, Isabel's laughter floated down the hallway, light and easy, like nothing could touch her. Jonathan finally asked, "Why are you telling me this?" And Mira just shrugged, said, "Because nobody believes girls like me, but I see everything." Then she just walked away, bucket swinging, leaving Jonathan standing in the sunlight that suddenly felt a whole lot colder. That night, nothing felt right. Jonathan watched Isabel brush her hair at the vanity, caught her reflection looking so perfect it almost hurt, but his mind was racing. Mira's words looping over and over, almost free. He didn't sleep a wink. By morning, he did something he'd never done in all his years of running the Wexford empire. Skipped the boardroom, skipped the driver, locked himself in his study. Pulled up the estate's security footage, hands trembling, looking for proof he wasn't losing his mind. He rewound to the late hours in the garden wing, exact spot Mira mentioned. There it was, Isabel, sneaking through the halls in a silk robe, hair pinned up, pausing just long enough to check if she was alone. She wasn't. A man followed her in. Not a stranger, Jonathan's business partner, Edward Crane. That one stung. They disappeared into the solarium, no staff, no lights, just low voices. Jonathan cranked up the audio, and that's when he heard it. Isabel's voice. "He's almost done. He's been moving funds into the Zurich account. Soon we won't need him at all." That right there was the knife. What came next? Chaos. He called his lawyer, froze every account, had IT track every digital step. Isabel made emails, calls, contracts, the works. By sundown, the story was laid bare. Forged documents, secret accounts, a plan to rob him blind and disappear, all while wearing his last name. But here's the twist, not the big one, but the kind that makes you see the world sideways. In the middle of Jonathan's private hell, the head butler confessed something. He'd seen Isabel hand envelopes to a charity driver, heard her promise him a new life overseas. Turns out, Edward wasn't just a business partner been working with a fake nonprofit to funnel cash. And that little charity, the one that nobody paid attention to, was the same shelter where Mira slept on cold nights. So when Jonathan confronted Isabel, there were no fireworks, no screaming matches. He waited at the door, folder in hand, and when she walked in, he just handed it to her, eyes flat as winter ice. We're done. The accounts are locked. The board knows. The prenup holds. For once, she didn't have a comeback. You lied to me, he said, quieter than he'd ever been. And a little girl with nothing saw what I couldn't. By sunrise, Isabel was gone, her name scrubbed from every bank and contract. But Jonathan didn't feel victorious, not even a little. He just kept thinking about Mira, the kid who saved him not for a reward, but because she believed the truth should matter, even if it came from someone nobody wanted to hear. He called shelters, asked staff, combed the city for any trace. Finally found her curled up behind a bakery, bucket beside her like always. He didn't show up in a suit, just jeans and a sweatshirt, knelt beside her, and said, "You saved me." She didn't reply, but he pulled out a necklace, simple gold, the word "seeing" carved into it. "You're coming with me now if you want." Mira stared, then slowly put her tiny hand in his. Months passed. Mira moved into the guest wing, but that was just a start. She got new clothes, doctors, a birthday party, sure. But what changed everything was Jonathan listened to her stories, her dreams, the planets she could name, the way she hated shoes but loved the smell of lemons. For the first time, Mira wasn't invisible. A year later, the adoption was official. The garden was full of people, some rich, some just old friends raising their glasses to the girl with the bucket. Jonathan toasted her, voice breaking just a little. Everyone saw her as small, but she saw what no one else would. She gave me the truth, and I'll spend the rest of my life giving her the world she deserves. Now, here's what I want to know. What would you have done? Trust the word of a child over your own wife? Cut ties, start over, or forgive? Was justice really served, or did everyone just get what they deserved in the end? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that might just change the way you see the world. Stay curious, stay kind, and remember, sometimes the person you overlook is the one who'll save you in the end.